Welcome back to the Joe Mobley Show. Thank you for waiting. I'm sure so many of you were waiting right at 8:30. But the exciting news is we're streaming on Outspoken Samantha's channel now on YouTube. So that's pretty cool. Um, Interesting show tonight. There are definitely some things that I would say could be family friendly, but definitely pretty graphic. Not like the weird alphabet people graphic, but like violence y graphic. So if you live in a part of the country where your kids are still up and hanging around, then uh, definitely listen. Don't watch because the one story is just terrible. Anyway, I'm Joe Mobley. Is this pointing the right way? This is Outspoken Samantha. We're gonna run the short bumper and jump into the content. And that's the short
Look at it.
bumper. Oh man,
That was
it goes
amazing.
just to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh, all
Samantha,
right.
how are you tonight?
I'm a little frazzled, but I'm here. It's been a long day. Um, yeah, I think just completely speechless about just everything that has been going on the last few days. I don't know if we're ever not gonna have a day or a week where the world is not falling apart. So, and I live in Texas, so we're sitting here thinking about Title 42 ending tonight, and it's a little stressful. I mean, I'm in Dallas, so I'm quite a ways from the border, but it's a little nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah, it's about to get wild in Texas. I was looking at some footage and some images of National Guardsmen there on the border. It's about to get pretty wild in Texas.
Yeah,
But like Ron DeSantis says, every state is a border state at this time with the drugs,
yeah,
with fentanyl, with the crime. And no, people don't sound clip this and be like, Joe Mobley says that Mexicans commit crime. And all people commit crime, starting their relationship by entering illegally. It's like, oh, well, yeah, all of those people. That's why we used to call them illegals. Remember that? But
mhm,
now, then they
yeah.
went to undocumented, and then it's not homeless, it's unhoused or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the funny thing is, even as a white person, if I tried to move to another country and I had a criminal record, they would probably keep me out. So, shockingly,
You could visit, but you
crime,
couldn't become a citizen.
right, right. And so, shockingly, crime is not based on your skin color.
You know,
That is news of the day.
all these people that are like threatening, if Trump gets elected, I'm going to move to Canada. That's what you said the first time. Here's the deal. It's hard to become a citizen of Canada. Like you can't
Mhm.
just move over. They don't give a crap that you're American. They don't give a crap what your job is or your net worth. It's a big process. It takes like 6 years or something crazy like that. We
Yeah,
we take in more legal and illegal immigrants. But if you just stay on the legal, we take in more immigrants than like nations 2 through 10 combined. And
yeah,
it's still not good enough, which blows my mind. But
yeah. No,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. But good news, according to Alejandro Mayorkas, the border is secure. And according to
Yes.
Courage Pierre, they have brought down illegal immigration by 90%. And we have nothing to
Problem
worry about,
solved.
honestly. Like
Yeah.
what we see happening right in front of our faces is just, we're wrong. Um,
Who you
I
gonna
saw,
believe? Your lion eyes or Green Jean Pierre, who's highly qualified?
I am going to start getting all of my news from Corinne Jean-Pierre. I love, I am jealous of the world that she lives in because according to Corinne Jean-Pierre, everything is fine all the time. Our country is doing great. The economy is thriving. People are living their best lives under this administration. So whatever it is that she's on, I want some.
Judy Bowers just subscribed. Thanks, Judy. I'm sure you're watching.
That's my mom.
I have the comments closed. Oh, that's your mom?
Yeah. And my
Outspoken
mom,
mama.
yeah, my mom's actually from Canada, so she can tell you all about the immigration process. It's a
I'm
mess.
I am honored. Outspoken mama. That's what that's what what we'll call her. Sorry
Yeah,
guys, I had the comments turned off. Are they on? Okay, they're on.
there we go. Hello. Oh,
Yes. Howdy, all three of us. Must be from
hey,
Texas. Uh I don't know why, but I feel nervous now. I don't know why. I've been doing this for over 2 years, and it's a perfectly clean show. That's the power of mom, though. That's and
it's
my
true.
my mom watches every episode, usually not live, but she listens to every episode. But if my mom was like chatting me, I would definitely be nervous. So
No, my mom has been listening to me speak my mind since I was like 3, so she's used to it.
well,
She
good.
Yeah, she'll tell and then, all those times, and I don't know if your parents did this too, but my mom was like, "Wait till you have one just like you." And I have a little mini me, 7-year-old, walking around out in the living room right now. So
So we have four. Oh, hello to the Twitter crowd. Um, Not a Tucker Carlson here. Show's not that big. We have four, two boys and two girls, and the older boy and girl are exactly clones of us. Like
yeah,
exactly. My son's room is right here, and
mhm,
it's wild because he like his mannerisms. It's like whoa. And now, like this last year, a whole bunch of stuff has happened, and I'm like, I remember doing this when I was 7, 8, 9. I
mm,
remember feeling that way. I remember asking that question and not being satisfied with my parents' answer. And the same thing
yep.
with our older girl. She is literally my wife in little girl form. It's freaking hilarious.
Yeah,
All right.
no,
Well, I suppose we have to get into the. I have like 100 tabs open. I don't know if you looked at the show planner, uh,
yeah,
like in the last hour, but there's like I went crazy with the links, so
great.
I've got like 100 tabs. Um,
So you're just gonna bring it on me. I don't know what we're talking about apparently.
well, it's the same stories, just
Okay.
more. I don't even know. The news is just so depressing these days. At least the first couple are. I think your story is the most depressing. So, uh, so this will be a commentary heavy one. But all right, so let's in the spirit of fake news, we're
Mhm,
gonna watch a little bit of how the situation is being reported. So Oakland says, California says, mainstream media says that they have these things in Oakland. They're called sideshows. Just like oh, head on down to the sideshow. Sounds totally normal. Sounds like a perfectly peaceful type thing. How do I get this to close? I am not doing great. Boom, there we go. This is
Over
some
the
of
weekend,
this is some of what the sideshow. And I mean, just listen to here. Let me turn the volume back on. Listen to this guy, like his attitude talking about it is just like, oh, this is totally normal.
weekend, bunch of sideshows happening here in the Bay Area once again.
Yeah, well, this time it was in the city of Oakland. Our correspondent Hazik Medyoun spoke to a business owner.
Now I'm gonna pause it right here. So look at this car, the silver four-door sedan. Notice that I didn't get a good freeze of it. Let me freeze it back here. All right. Notice this little white sticker that it has because we're gonna see
mhm.
this guy again.
In the Bay Area once again.
right through it.
But this is what goes on.
An illegal sideshow causes a major disruption to the flow of traffic Sunday at around 6:45 p.m. at the corner of 42nd Avenue and International Boulevard in
So basically, everyone here they're not held hostage, but it's definitely a tense situation. It's definitely
Mhm.
a lawless type deal, and this woman in her car is
After
freaking
about
out.
45 minutes,
But you watch, and the police they basically threaten to surround the police officer, and he kind of just meanders on through.
Mhm.
At one point in the video, you see an Oakland police patrol car roll through the
No
middle
one
of the
getting
sideshow
arrested.
without stopping.
It's not fair to either blame OPD for not doing anything. That was one for
And he just gets the heck out of there. But
Right.
again, why this is a problem, this lawlessness, because when we don't hold criminals to account, this is the broken windows theory, from New York City. When they can do stuff like this, the same exact actors, these cars, some of the same bystanders on the side of the road at a
Mhm.
different location, some language here, but at a different location, did this.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
Now, there's like a 2-minute video of this right
Mhm.
here, which is really difficult to watch because they okay, so reportedly they didn't beat this guy to death. Um
Mhm.
but I've seen people, there are about 6 to 8 people hitting him and he's completely defenseless. They're kicking him, they're punching him in the head, they're kicking him in the face, and there's just no way. There's no
Right.
way to get out of a situation like that. I mean, a lot of times, a situation like this, a firearm might not even save you, depending on how emboldened the criminals are. At that first one, if you watch the whole video, it's like a 3-minute video. We're not going to watch the whole one. They talk about
Mhm.
these sideshows. They talk about the facts that shots were fired at the police and at police vehicles. At these
Mhm.
sideshows, they've arrested like 2, maybe 3 people, impounded 1, maybe 2 cars, and recovered 1 or 2 firearms. But this
Right.
is, listening to the newscasters, this is everyday stuff. This is just Oakland. This is just LA. This is just, I don't think
Right.
they're doing sideshows in New York City. I think NYPD would actually do something about that. But leftists,
I
these are your policies.
Well, I don't know that they would do anything about it. I mean, if you look at that story of Jordan Neely, that the tragedy of him passing away at the hands of somebody that actually held him to account for despicable behavior. Now the subways are completely flooded with protesters and they're terrorizing people, and the protesters are standing on the tracks and stopping trains, and they're screaming at people that are trying to get out of the trains. And I mean, I think eventually they did start making arrests, but the police are really. I don't know what it is. I think a lot of it is a lack of morale. I think a lot of it is lack of support from politicians. And I think a lot of it is the fact that so many of these crimes have been diminished and reduced to minimal charges, if any charges at all. And I always think it's so funny because, well, I don't think it's funny. It's horrendous. But we hear so many leftists say, the crime is higher in red states and it's higher in places like Mississippi and Oklahoma or whatever. And but the thing is, when you live in a place that they've removed the penalties for things, where something that used to be a crime is no longer a crime, that is going to drive your numbers down. So all of these things, with drag racing in the middle of the road, or whatever it is that they're doing, not drag racing, but these things used to be
They're like
crimes, and
having a party in the middle of an
yeah,
intersection.
being completely disruptive to all of the businesses and destroying the streets and beating the crap out of innocent bystanders. All of these things would be crimes in places that were run by people who value the law. But they're in places where the law means absolutely nothing. So you're not going to have people charged for these things, and you're not going to have a high rate of criminal activity on record.
I can tell you with all certainty, how this would go down in like Loudoun County. And Loudoun is always in the news for something ridiculous, but law enforcement in Loudoun is solid. The sheriff's
Yeah.
department here is award winning. We had an active shooter at the mall just a couple weeks back, and they were on scene and in custody within like, I think the whole thing took about 3 minutes, and it was, yeah. Anyway, our sheriff's office is baller, but I can tell you with all certainty, Mike Chapman's a friend. One of the reactor fast teams would get put on this, and they would just for a week say, "Hey, this team is gonna arrive at these what do they call them? Sideshows.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're just gonna arrive at these things, block off the road, do the choke points. It's a four-way intersection, so just do the choke points and arrest everyone in there. Problem solved. And it's like, hey, if you do this, which is they call us insurrectionists. They say that we almost lost democracy. We almost lost the country. They're the only ones that take over and occupy sovereign area in the United States, like Chaz Chop, Portland,
Mm.
Oregon, bullcrap.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, this
It's
story is super sad. Not as sad as yours, but and none of
yeah,
these people have been arrested.
and I'm not surprised. And it's not like this is a one-off incident. It's not like this is isolated. There is like video after video after video constantly on a daily basis of stuff like this happening, of people just getting beat up, people being
Oh
terrorized, people
yeah,
being harassed.
that's
It's
what they call Black
constant.
Twitter.
It's what?
Have you looked into Black Twitter at all?
No. That
Oh,
sounds
well,
racist.
here's a big circle of depravity for you later
No.
tonight. So Black Twitter, which is just like
Mhm.
just like Black America, it's just like cultural stuff that the Black community puts on Twitter, is
Okay.
fights. It's fights, it's people getting jumped into gangs, it's drive-by shootings, it's stuff like this. Like these videos, a bunch of these videos will be on Black Twitter,
Oh my
which is
gosh.
normal Twitter, but it's just like the hashtags that like Black America uses.
Right.
And to call a spade, like the worst demographic of Black America, not just like Will Smith's not going to be on Black. Actually, Will Smith was on Black Twitter when he slapped Chris Rock. But basically, well educated, successful, hardworking Black Americans not on Black Twitter much.
Much. Not
Uh,
so much.
yeah,
It's almost like if you remove laws, it only affects, it's law-abiding citizens that are impacted by it, and that people will behave in the way that you allow them to behave. If there's no consequences, you're going to pull the worst of society out in front of you, and everybody else is going to have to deal with it. So it's almost like having consequences in place is actually effective and like keeps people from ruining our cities and ruining streets and ruining people's communities. I don't know. It's just a wild idea. Maybe defunding the police was as bad of an idea as we said it was going to be.
mind
I know,
blown.
right? Like some of us don't have to learn things the hard way. We can see exactly where this is going to go.
This is why we say they behave like children because they have to touch the stove. They nuh-uh, they have to experience it themselves, and it's like, told you, we
Yeah,
freaking told you.
yeah.
All
But
right,
in their case, they don't care how many people get burned because they don't have to deal with it. So we're all
yep,
getting burned. They're just
that
pretending that it's happening.
that is an accidental perfect analogy. So let's get into the increasingly weird story circumstance of the I mean, look, we've been saying a joke that a bunch of people like myself are black white supremacist. Well, it turns out now there are Hispanic white supremacists, or maybe I don't even there's still a lot of weirdness about this story. um
Yeah.
but let's get into that. Oh gosh.
Okay. So this was, I'm not even sure what day this happened because it wasn't that long ago. Was it Monday?
Was it the 8th? I think it was Monday.
Yeah. So unfortunately, another shooting out in public. Um, I don't I don't have a lot of the details because I've been so caught up in the weird narrative surrounding, but it sounds like this guy just pulled up
Yeah.
in front of an outlet mall in Allen, Texas, which is, I believe it's like North Dallas, and just opened fire and injured a bunch of people, unfortunately killed a mother, a father, and a daughter, all of the same family, and there was a son that survived, a little boy that survived. So super duper tragic. Of course, all of these situations are tragic. I know that the left likes to drive this narrative like being pro gun and pro 2A means that you don't care about people's lives and that you don't care about these tragedies. But honestly, I would say that, and I probably can speak for you too, I care more about these things because I actually want to know what the root of the problem is and where this is stemming from versus using these deaths and using these tragedies to push a narrative. And as Ben Shapiro said to, I believe it was Pierce Morgan years ago, I think it was after the Sandy Hook thing, dancing on the graves of these people to push an agenda. And that sounded really, really extreme at the time. But the more that we see these narratives come out, the
It's
more it becomes
exactly
more
what they
apparent.
do.
Yeah, it becomes more and more obvious every single time. And this in particular has so many question marks around it. So the first headline that I really saw in trying to figure out who this person was about him being a white supremacist. And of course, I don't know anybody that owns a gun that isn't a white supremacist. So clearly that's a natural conclusion to come to. Truly honest, no agenda behind that whatsoever. But then turns out this guy has a very white name named Mauricio Garcia. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So pretty standard
super
name.
white sounding guy.
Yeah, pretty standard name. It's pretty common amongst the white supremacist community. Um, so then, so of course they were trying to figure out this white supremacy thing. Well, nobody was trying to figure it out. That's what they were saying it was, and they weren't asking any questions. There was a tattoo on the back of his hand, and they were trying to say that it was a white supremacy tattoo. And from what I can understand, it looked like it had a three-leaf. They may have been interpreting it to be a three-leaf clover, which is linked to some kind of white supremacy ideology. But then looking at it more closely, it could be linked to a gang, the Tango Blast gang, apparently. So there's all that. But then, the media narrative on this thing, sorry, I did make a bunch of notes and now I'm trying to find them, but he's a white supremacist. He apparently had this social media profile. And when I heard social media, I was thinking Twitter, I was thinking Instagram, but no, it's on this Russian website where he was apparently posting a bunch of hate towards Jewish people. And he apparently had all of these photos with swastika tattoos and, white supremacy salutes and postings praising this kind of ideology. And it was all very suspicious. And interestingly enough, the photos with the swastika tattoos had his head cropped off the top,
Yeah.
which
They
I can't
look
imagine why.
super
I don't know
sketch.
why we question that because it seems totally legitimate to me. How I post all of my photos on Instagram, actually, when I want people to really know that it's me, I crop my head off the top.
Here, let me find that one. There it is. There's
Yeah.
just a lot. There's just a lot that's weird about this, and the information kind of trickles out. We still don't have the manifesto of the psychopath who's a very inconvenient, trans mass shooter.
Yeah.
From the last one, or was it 2 shootings ago? It's hard to remember, but this is like, come on, guys. Like, this hits the internet. This is super sketch.
Well, and it's
Super sketch.
how quickly the information or supposedly this narrative came out and how perfectly it just happened to hit all of the mainstream media talking points that they say on pretty much every shooting. Like, the white supremacy thing, what is it? Sorry, I made some notes here. So apparently on this Russian website, he made reference to extremist online forums such as 4chan, and he posted several things about how he planned to commit this crime. And he used all of these these words that would essentially flag the FBI if if the FBI is searching for potential instances of this happening. And it's like, and nobody looked into this. Like, this didn't flag the FBI at all. And he wrote a lot about his,
That that whole thing. I don't know if you've listened to there's so many people saying this is odd. I listened to Tim Pool talk about this. ABL Anthony Brian Logan on YouTube. His voice is a little bit annoying, but his content's really good.
yeah.
There's so much weirdness about this because there's a thing that you do in intelligence where you're just staging. You can stage for
Hmm.
oppo research, you can stage for black flag, you can stage for anything. And it's basically these are the 3 or 4 tools that we use to accomplish this goal, whether it's like fraud, force, coercion, information control, information distribution, whatever. These are like the 3 or 4 tools that we use for that. So we're gonna put these things, a man or a woman or a teen or a child did thing, place doesn't matter, and so we just stage those things and then we can
Hmm.
fill in the details. And this bullcrap that's on the screen right now, not guys, we don't know if it's real or fake, but it's so hastily done. Um, People that I trust from the intelligence community, one of whom was FBI, who's done a lot of counterintelligence, intelligence, was at a lot of these riots before they ousted him because he blew the whistle. He was just on Timcast. Said that this isn't backstopped at all. They're like, right wing extremists. Pull up a YouTube channel, like 4 of the videos.
Right.
They did like 4 sequential videos, not like one a season or maybe like one from a couple of years ago. The user behaviors of these totally real profiles
Hmm.
are bullcrap. They're nonsense.
Yeah. Well, and like I mean, it's just too perfectly laid out. And it's, well, and of course, the media has given us every reason to not trust them in these instances. And it just, like you said, it's interesting that we have this, the shooting that happened a couple of weeks ago, and there is an actual manifesto that they refuse to provide to the public. They refuse to provide any information on. This guy walks up to a mall and just opens fire, and suddenly they have like every bit of information on him. His entire belief system, everybody that he supported. He just happens to like Tim Pool and libs of TikTok, like specifically naming these people in these posts. And these just happen to be people that the left particularly targets on a regular basis. I mean, again, we don't know if this is real or not. And definitely if it is, we need to know if it is. We need to know if if this is an ideology where there are people that are grouping together to plan these things. Like, absolutely. But this is why it's important to be able to ask these questions and look into it. Um,
And
Another aspect,
the timing.
yeah.
I can't even, can we read this? It looks like Kinesi,
Hmm.
exactly what they said. The timing is just like, oh, we have this really terrible, like, trans violent criminal dirtbag. Oh, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Oh, there's a Hispanic white supremacist shooting people in Texas.
Yeah.
No, the
You're not
timing is
asking.
super odd.
Yeah, if you're not asking questions, then I don't know what to tell you, because everything about this is just completely there's just red flags everywhere. It just, something doesn't smell right. But then I
Did
don't know
you?
if you had a
Sorry, God.
chance. What?
No. I was gonna say something about the platform, but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the video of the other guy that just happened to be on site. This Steven Spainhauer happened to be there rescuing the people, or at least offering aid to them that were shot. Happened to be there just to give an interview. This guy right here.
This guy is a butthole. You want to watch
And
it?
just, Oh, yeah. Play like, you guys tell me what you think. Play this interview and tell me that this is not the epitome of dancing on the graves of people that just went through a tragedy to exploit an agenda.
Oh, now, fortunately, MSNBC's reach sucks. This has got 1.4 million views. Tucker Carlson could like sneeze and he gets at least 25 million. But, but here we go. Maybe.
It could be you. It could be your family member. I never imagined it would be me. I never imagined it would happen in my community, but it did. And we've got to stop this type of carnage. And all the politicians are going to make statements. They're going to offer prayers and condolences. Prayers and condolences won't bring these people back. We need some action in our legislatures at the federal and state level for better gun control. And I'm saying that as somebody who loves guns. I don't know what the gunman's problem was. I don't know his motive, but it wasn't mental health that killed these people. It was an automatic rifle with bullets. That's what killed them. I'm a gun lover. I have guns. I'm a former police officer. I'm a former Army officer. But these M4s and AR-15s, they've got to get off the streets or this is going to keep happening. And we've got to stop that at some point. It could be you. It could be your family.
I don't know why it started at the end and then went back to the beginning.
That's okay. So
Where
did
to even
anybody
start?
did anybody I mean, I am not a former police officer. I have never been in the army. I'm not an expert. But when he says we
I'm both of those things, and I completely disagree with this guy, just for the record.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to be an expert to recognize so many inaccuracies of the things that he said. He's talking about AR-15s being, and then he says we have to go and get these automatic weapons off the streets. It's like we don't have automatic weapons. And he just
Oh,
happened to be
and
very
M4s, you can't buy an M4.
yeah.
An actual M4 is the military's weapon. Federal agencies have them. Some state, maybe some local law enforcement have them, but the M4 is for the military. I cannot buy an M4. Like
Yeah.
that's just a blatant lie.
That's just seems to be very specific, especially to bring up, like you said, a gun that you can't buy. Not only that, this is one that has never been in the national conversation whatsoever. It's all about the AR-15s. It's like, where did you get this M4 thing from? But going on and being like, thoughts and prayers aren't going to bring these people back. Like, how often do we hear that from the leftist narrative, like from the leftist media? That's the first, take your thoughts and prayers and you know put them where the sun don't shine. I mean, they tell us this all the like he just happens to hit all of these very specific talking points, and he just happens to be in the middle of a tragedy that fits these talking points very specifically. Like, this guy is a Democrat activist and he's running for a particular office in
Yep.
Texas, one of these smaller offices. But he, to say that he's a gun lover and a 2A lover, if you look at his news feed and some of the things that he has posted, all about gun legislation. It's all about, passing gun control laws and stronger gun control. I mean, repeatedly. So it's like this guy is so much worse than anything we have ever seen on the mainstream media in the fact that he is exploiting a tragedy that is just, it is fresh. And he is already getting out there with these talking points.
You're being super graceful. This guy is a liar and a piece of crap. And I will tell you all why. His lie is obvious and evident from just this statement without even going into social media. He says that he loves guns. He says that he carries guns. He's former law enforcement, former military, where the training is very specific that you have to see yourself in these situations. And you have to, otherwise you wouldn't be able to act. That's what the training is all about. Why would you carry a firearm, be a concealed carrier, open carry a firearm, if you think this could never happen to me? I could never see myself in that situation. It's not going to happen to me. Look, your statements are incongruent, dude. If you carry a gun, it's because you believe it could happen to you. You can see yourself in that situation. That's why you have a gun in the vehicle, in your purse, in your waistband. Because when it does happen to you, you're not like, oh no, I can't believe this is happening. I never thought it would be me. But good thing I happen to have this gun out of nowhere. Let me go and use it.
Right.
He's full of
Oh,
crap. He's lying.
yeah. And it's disgusting. I mean, this family just, and that's why I say, like, when they tell us that we're the ones that don't care about the deaths of these people, it's like, I care. A family, this little boy just lost his entire family, and you're out here talking about, don't you dare, think about these people and pray for these people, and let me throw out all of these talking points, and I am going to hope and pray that the people that are listening to this don't realize that I'm absolutely full of crap and that I'm just spewing a bunch of things that don't make sense. He is banking on the idea that people have no, like, they're not informed, they're not educated, they don't know about guns, and they don't understand that what he's saying makes no sense whatsoever, which is another trademark of the left. They
Yep.
count on us being stupid.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Oh man. Yeah, if your life is just nonsense and you're a complete idiot, then what he said makes perfect sense to you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. We
it's
should get rid of the M4s, guys. I'm calling for a ban on M4s. Me,
yeah,
super conservative Joe Mobley. There's no need for these weapons of war in the hands of private citizens, which actually, I mean, the point of the Second Amendment is anything that could be used in war. And I can hear you keyboard warriors like, you think that we should have planes and tanks and new everything that the government has access to, we should have access to. We
right.
gave birth to the government. The government is ours, not the other. We instituted government.
Yeah.
That's how the whole thing works. But anyway,
Yeah.
oh
Well,
man,
I wanted to just say one more thing, because I don't think I sent you this video. There was another video where he did just another brief interview, and he called these guns people killers. He said we need to
people
get these
kill.
people killing guns off the street. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." It was
So,
just very specific to drive a narrative. Oh, and he did talk about the guy's mental health. This wasn't about mental health. And then there's a whole article
yep,
of how this specific person was in the army for like 3 months, and they kicked him out because of his mental health
mental
issues.
health. Yep.
It
So,
just
here's a problem. And there are a lot of different debates you can have with people about guns. One of the things that I use, the tactics that I use, borrow it, listener, viewer, if you'd like. That leftist, that person who can't just put two and two together, I ask them, can you or the police or the government make it so that I will never face a criminal with a firearm? Like, can you make that happen? Because I just want it to be a fair fight. If it's fists, if it's knives, if it's freaking taekwondo bows and we got to beat each other with sticks, just so I can have what the criminal has. Can you make it so that my wife will never have to face someone with a firearm? Of course not. Of course they can't. Look at
Mhm.
uh again, this white supremacist who, I can't see this woman's face, but her body looks white, and he's still
Yeah,
Hispanic. So this Hispanic white supremacist who seems to have his arm around a white girl in this picture. Anyway,
yeah,
look at what he's got here. He's got a vest. This is a full military style, not military style like rifles, actual military style setup with 7 magazines. That's 210 rounds, 211 if you top off, if you load it and then top off that last magazine. You have to fight someone like this with a gun.
yeah,
Literally, literally like one of these. I would
yeah.
not take a pistol into that situation. But
Right.
you can't, like, Samantha has no idea if driving somewhere in Dallas, if maybe there's going to be a road show, people are going to be in the intersection tacked out like this. Like, this guy, luckily, he didn't get too much military training because, he could have done a lot more carnage.
Mhm.
So I'm glad that they shot him. Just my
Yeah,
2 cents.
yeah. Well, I mean, he wasn't doing us any good, But I mean, I hear, I was watching a couple of videos about, the arguments that people make for gun control and the Constitution, how it says, shall not be infringed. It's very specific. And of course, there's a lot of these leftists, especially younger leftists, who have never been taught anything about the Constitution and haven't been taught anything about the reason that we have these things in there. They think it's about, well, they didn't know the guns that would be available to us now. They didn't know the power that we would have in these weapons and all of this stuff. And it's, they think that our founding fathers had no insight into what the future might look like, essentially, and that these ideas are antiquated. And it wasn't about the gun; it was about the existence of evil. And it's about the existence of people that want to use power against us. It's about the government. It is not about the weapon. And they were very well aware that there's evil people are always going to exist. Mentally ill people are always going to exist. There are always going to be people that think it's their right to take the lives and to harm other human beings. There's always going to be the possibility of having a government that wants to take your rights away from you. That is why we have the right to protect ourselves. That is why we have the right to have weapons that equal the playing field between us and them.
Oh, I didn't have time to look up this quote. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's that famous quote. Uh-oh, it doesn't have the name. It's was it one that wrote the Federalist? Anyway, if men were angels, no government would be necessary. If angels were to govern men, neither external nor external controls on government would be necessary. It's James Madison in one of the famous Federalists. But recognizing that men are more devil than angel, we're not just these benevolent beings. We strive for power, and people do corrupt things, and people commit atrocities, and people start wars and all that stuff. They said, hey, we need to institute a government, and there needs to be a balance of power between the government's relationship with the citizenry and the citizens' relationship with the government, and the government needs to be subservient to the citizenry, not the other way around, because of that dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
We pretend like the founding fathers were like the bumbling image of men that is in TV today. The Homer Simpsons, the dad from Family Guy, just these fat idiots. These guys were well educated, well read, and they came together and by God's grace signed this suicide pact in the Declaration of Independence and stood up the most brilliant form of government fashioned after literally, they weren't Christian men, literally fashioned after the idea of the Trinity. And like, yeah. We should do an episode about that. That would be fun.
That would be, yeah. Well, I think we can transition to the next thing, because there's a few other things we want to get to tonight. And we could be here until midnight because there's always so many things to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. Let's do this one fast. I'll cut out the video. If you haven't heard, multiple people reporting, Daily Caller's reporting, Tucker Carlson announced, and he did on Twitter, that his show is going to be on a new platform, and that platform is Twitter. So, yeah, it's really interesting. I guess no, the video is 3 minutes long. It's too long to play. But look at that, 25.9 million views. Like, seriously, this dude is gonna go gangbusters when the show starts. He's still trying to get out of his contract, and Jenna Ellis. He's still figuring out the contract stuff. I'm a little bit bummed that he turned down Patrick Bet-David's $100 million deal. But this is going to be good. Tucker Carlson. What's the other guy's name? Elon Musk has said that it is a priority of Twitter to get content creators on it, to get long form content on it. He hasn't really talked about like the how-tos and the cat videos that like YouTube has. But to get shows and not just right-wing stuff, but to get, everyone is already on Twitter. Everyone, people that don't care about politics, left, right, center, whatever. Twitter is where breaking news happens. My show is on Twitter. But it was interesting that like the day after that, Elon Musk came out. He tweeted and he came out on multiple news outlets saying that we have not signed a deal with Tucker. And a lot of people have messaged me, DM, text, whatever, like, what is this about? This is not a bad sign. This is a good sign. For two reasons. Tucker's still under contract. He's not out from under that contract, and Twitter and Elon Musk have to protect themselves from any contract infringements that they could be a part of. And the other thing is, Elon Musk does not want Twitter to be Getter or Truth Social, to be this big right wing only type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, hey, we're not endorsing Tucker Carlson. He's not a Twitter talent. His show
Right.
is just on. So
Right.
he's been super clear. We're not giving him millions and billions of dollars to do this. But I think it's going to be a great move.
So are you saying that if Don Lemon wanted to start a show on Twitter, that Elon would open the floor for him as well?
Yeah, he could.
That would be really interesting. I think it would just be like Don Lemon like crying on video all day long. But and I like that he said that, because we've got too much of this. Well, this platform is right wing and this platform is left wing. I don't know that I've ever, well, I feel like Facebook probably is pretty left wing because they're still pretty heavily censored. But I've never gotten this idea that Twitter is left wing. I mean, even when it was being run by leftists, I never had this idea that it was a left wing platform. And so it's just interesting, the left is constantly like, we have to divide ourselves up. We have to have our own platforms, and we have to have like our own labels for our platforms. And it's like, I really like the idea of Elon Musk saying, I'm not endorsing a particular show. I'm just saying we're opening the platform for people to speak freely, to
Yep.
actually exercise what free speech is. Maybe we will negotiate a show with Don Lemon. He can even bring, what's his name, Brian Stelter, and they could be
Oh,
like
gosh. Oh,
comedic relief.
man.
I don't know, but that's the way that it should be.
Yeah. Hardy Lloyd saying, I never really got into Twitter. Pretty hard to not think of things like that. Honestly, we have to think of things like that because, just like Samantha just said, it's the way that things should be. Twitter is a business. Elon Musk is running that business. He's like, hey, I'm not about to step into a Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch situation. Everyone knows Elon Musk is a free speech. He's a pro-freedom liberal. He's got some
Mm-hmm.
crazy liberal ideas that I completely disagree with, but he's not for tyranny because he actually comes from Africa, where they have a lot of that type of stuff. He comes from South Africa, so he is an African American. I'm not. I'm just a basic black guy from New York. But he's like, no. We want everyone here. Like, YouTube in the beginning wasn't paying people. It wasn't propping up shows. It's like, hey, we want everyone here. It turned into a leftist crap hole over time, and they started canceling shows. My show got canceled last November. Poof, gone. All of my subscribers gone. Freaking YouTube, you guys. But Twitter, everyone is on Twitter. Everyone who's into politics, news, like that kind of stuff is on Twitter. And it's good for the platform. The platform could generate a ton of revenue if people just bring their shows there, which is why it's good for us. We'll just pretend the internet's not here, but it's good
Right.
for us because Twitter is one of my bigger platforms. I think I have 25,000 followers on there. On YouTube, I have like 25, period.
Yeah.
But on, yeah. Oh man, YouTube.
It's
But
okay.
to get to what's going to happen, a lot of people are talking about this. When YouTube went from fail videos and cute cat videos and it went to serious like long form content, and not like even just Mr. Beast, but like the Daily Wire shows all grew on YouTube. The Blaze grew on YouTube. The leftist versions, the Young Turks and all of this stuff grew on YouTube. Well, when you're there, and you're putting out long form content and they're trying to monetize and make that a big part of the platform, whoever's there, whoever's in that real estate right then, they promote your content. So Elon Musk, you should promote this content. Just from a platform perspective, it's going to uprank it. It's going to say, right now, YouTube is like shorts is everything. If you're not making shorts, you're not getting discovered. Reels are everything. If you're not making reels, you're not getting discovered on Insta. If Twitter says if you're not doing live streams and publishing long form content, then you're not getting discovered. Great. We're doing long form
Yep.
content, so it's good for us.
Yeah. I strongly dislike reels and shorts. I've tried to do them and
You do good shorts.
I haven't done one in a while, but I find them just they're just kind of a pain. I don't know. I prefer just putting out a long form video talking about what I want to talk about, and not having to just put out these little blips. It's like just sit down and watch the video. Let's practice having a longer attention span. Oh, my camera just fell.
You
Sorry.
don't like shorts because you're intelligent and you're like that. This is like a little thought in 7 seconds. Like, no, that's not sufficient.
Hold
So,
on, I gotta come.
uh-oh.
Sorry, I don't know.
If you need to leave and come back, that's fine.
I might have to because now I don't know what happened to this stream. Oh, I think I'm still there. Okay. Man, my setup is so ghetto. It's like one of these days I'll be able to get something legit here. But I mean, I just have to say I'm really excited about what's happened with Twitter. It's so strange. Like even just a year ago, like you could get permanently banned for saying that there's two genders or talking about not getting vaccinated. And now with Elon Musk, it's like we want people to talk, we want people to have a conversation, we want you to be able to get all of the information so you can make informed decisions and not just be in this echo chamber where you're hearing the same things repeated day in and day out, and mostly false information at that. So, I mean, it's just so weird to be in this space that we never thought Twitter would be. At least I never thought it would be that again, or at least have this massive free speech platform. And I always think it's so funny when we talk about free speech that that people automatically think of the right. Like when people talk about being pro free speech, they're like, you must be conservative. It's like, well, what does that say about the left?
It's in the Constitution.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, such a good point.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Here's some advice from what I've gathered. Many shows like I think it's Styx that looks like the band, but anyway, built a following using his pet cat. So maybe we should try pets. Maybe I get my Yorkie in here and we can just like it's Mozart the Yorkie. Poof. And
we'll do that next week.
That works in advertising. Advertising a pet or a child blows up and like it greatly increases the reach of an ad.
It's true. Well, good for Tucker. I I do have to say that I think it's really funny that we keep seeing these like breaking news. Tucker breaks his silence, and it's like, okay, this is like the third time he's broken his silence in like 2 days.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not breaking news anymore. And quite frankly, Tucker was never silenced, and we never thought that he was going to be. We just wanted to know where he was going to go so we could follow him there. So.
Yep. It's just going to take a while. We just have to wait for the legalese to get worked out. I don't know. Do we want to do both of these stories or just one? I feel like the Loudon story is still going to be news next week because that's how we roll here.
It's up to you. I will let you make the executive decision on that.
All right. Maybe we'll go fast on Loudon because I want to get to the town hall. The town hall is just glorious. Well, if you guys haven't heard, Chardonnay Antifa is at it again. And if you don't know what Chardonnay Antifa is, it's this group of primarily rich, white, liberal women who are my neighbors. Not my actual name. Okay, well, actual neighbors, if you're watching this, you know that we love you all, even if your views are very different than ours, but we still break bread and have a great time. But you
Mm.
know that our collective neighbors are rich, white, liberal women. Basically, that's just how it is. Anyway, it's that demographic, and they hate all things conservative. They hate parents' rights. They hate that a group of us went to the school board and said, "Hey, you can't do this weird transing stuff to our kids," and they hate that we back the sheriff and that we don't support them doing away with the sheriff's department and standing up a police department with a police chief that's not accountable to anyone, even though we have one of the top 10 sheriff's departments in the United States, not in Virginia, in the United States. And they want to get rid of it because, well, because they're liberals and they're for lawlessness. But this short video kind of demonstrates the new stuff that they're doing, just constant canceling, constant sometimes violence, but definitely threats and intimidation and all of that jazz all the time.
Mark Wynn spoke at a school board meeting in December. One person in the Loud and Love Warriors group said they want to define Wynn's employer and hold the company accountable until he is fired. The person wrote, quote, "Say goodbye to your job. Let's make him unemployable by love or by force. I want to contact his employer to do just that. Ruin his livelihood," unquote.
It just shocked me.
What shocked Wynn even more was a series of messages from someone in the group who wrote, quote, "We really need to find this guy. His life needs to be permanently disassembled. I would shoot him. I'm telling you, something has to happen to one of them. Something public and permanent. Lives need to be ruined beyond repair. I'm so ready to show up with guns."
They threaten my life and my livelihood. When they threaten somebody's employment or threaten somebody's life or threaten their home, yeah, that's hate speech.
Yeah, so this is what they do. This is who they are. Scott Pio was in there. Alicia Brand was in there. And so they got caught because they always get caught because, hey, leftist lunatics, I'm sure some of you watch the show. We have people in all of your groups. Here in Loudoun, we have people in all of your groups. We're literally law enforcement, intelligence professionals. We've got, senior counsel with established careers representing the United States government. We know how to do this. We've always had people in your groups, in all of your little groups. And then they're always like, how has this happened? Well, one of those people, they had enough and bowed out. They were in the group for 2 years. You know who you are. Thank you for your service. But on their way out, they leaked like 200 pages of their crazy private crap, which is all over the web right now. But one of those things on there is this list where they're talking about we need to get them fired where we can get them fired. We need to go after them. We need to commit violence. Something needs to happen to them fast and permanent. And the obvious threats of the people who are threatening violence, saying like, hey, I want to shoot this person. I want to go to their house with a gun. You guys are going to jail. That's illegal. Sheriff Chapman's investigating. You guys are going to jail. But there's this huge list. People are on it, like the literal Attorney General of Virginia, Jason Miyares, is on it. They couldn't spell it because they're dumb. The governor, the governor of Virginia is on the list. Cornerstone Chapel and their incoming school. Which
Oh my God.
I got to tell you guys, I'm a security member of a different church, but I know and respect and love a handful of the security members at Cornerstone and Cornerstone's incoming school. Number one, their teachers have to go through a course to be proficient with the firearm. Just letting y'all know that, because I don't want anything to happen at this school. But I guarantee if you do the crap that you've done to some of us, showing up at our homes with guns and intimidate, I guarantee you will die or wish that you had. Do not go to that school. Do not go to that church. I'm telling you, you're unprepared. But a ton of people, they've got John Beatty on here. They have Sheriff Mike Chapman. And I don't even know what this means. They wrote that he's a DUI checkpoint expert next to his Like that, like they are literally, they put together, Daily Wire calls this a 200-page dossier.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, and first of all, these are they're talking about shooting people. These are the ones that want gun control, and they think that guns are the problem, yet they are literally in real time acting out being the mentally ill people that it takes to actually use a gun to harm someone. Second of all, these people, because uh, I love how was this the group? It was called the Loudon Love Warriors.
That's what their new, so their first group was Chardonnay. Well, we called them Chardonnay Antifa. They were the Loudon anti-racist, and we
Okay.
infiltrated that group. So now their new group is called the Loudon Love Warriors. Yeah.
The Loudon Love Warriors. People have a list of everybody that they want to target, everybody that they want to harass, everybody's life that they want to ruin down to a T, every single detail that they can come up with to annihilate about these people. And they're called the Love Warriors. Like,
What are you talking about? I mean, they're just saying someone's gonna get hurt on their side, and I hope I get to do it.
oh
I'm
my,
I'm so ready to show up with guns. Like, what are you talking about? This isn't how
right,
you express love?
right. I mean, here in Texas, maybe, but um, let me tell you, I mean, these are the people that constantly say that being a Christian is the problem, believing in God is the problem, going to church, being a Catholic or being, whatever is the problem, that we're the threat. I don't remember ever, and I have been going to church my entire life. So several years at this point, several decades at this point. I have never been in a church meeting where they're like, this is the list of people that don't agree with us. Guess what? In Sunday school, we're going to talk about how to target these people.
No.
Like, we're going to go out there and figure out how to ruin as many of the lives of people that don't believe in God. That's what we're going to do. Everybody report back next week. Like, this is not something that we do in church. Like, we're actually, for all intents and purposes, we're the love warriors. Like, we want you guys to stop ruining your lives and ruining everybody else's lives, and stop being so angry and bitter and being so consumed with this anger all the time, and stop spreading it around to everybody else. We actually want you guys to be able to live your life the way that you want to, and we want to be able to do the same and be respected in that way. Like, we're the ones that are actually trying to heal society, and you guys throw a fit if we disagree with you, and you make a list about how many ways you can ruin people over it.
The crazy thing is so this is handwritten and their printouts of it, but they also have online forums, they have base camps, they have private Facebook groups, and there's no way to do it. Like, they're probably in our groups, we're in their groups. That's just, the name of the game. But some things that are different. Their list, they always put these qualifier things on here. This person's redacted, but I know who she is. And when she was like, they put me on their damn list. And I looked at it and I said, well, you are a little mouthy. It said like her thing is mouthy, but here's the scary part. 200 pages of this. It also includes stuff like pictures of the people pulled down from the web, pictures of their families. One of my friends who's on this list, a picture of her boss, a picture of two of her 4 children, a picture of her husband are in her little dossier section. Guys, this is dangerous stuff. I've always told people, hey, like, if I'm out by myself and you accost me, you have a chance. Maybe I'll talk with you. Maybe we'll, if you want to fight, maybe we'll fight or whatever. If I'm with you, my family, you die. There's
Yeah.
6 of us, and I'm not assuming that level of risk. I'll assume some risk if I'm out by myself, but
Yeah.
just know that that's not how this worked. But it's not just a list of people. It's pictures of actually, one of the women on the list, they put pictures of the front of her house in her section.
Yeah.
These are
Oh my God.
calls for violence. These are calls
Yeah.
for violence. CNN's not going to report about this. Tracy Beans had her freaking house burned down on Christmas Eve, and they're not going to report about that. this is what
Yeah.
they're using these lists for. So, I mean,
Yep.
good luck. Good luck with the investigation, guys.
Right. Oh my gosh. I
The
just.
the Commonwealth attorney, which is like a district attorney for
Mhm.
this area, is in this group. One of her, no, she was in the last group. Now one of her staffers is in the group. So she can't prosecute this trial.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's not going to stop them. I mean, they feel justified in doing this. It's all a means to an end. And that's when they say, they talk about lawlessness and they talk about, no one is above the law. They really just mean us. And the fact that they think that our ideology and the way that we think is so dangerous. And it's because they think that we are the danger that they feel justified in doing these things and feel that they can get away with it. So, um, they don't, they're not going to recognize the double standard and the irony in being called the love warriors and actually wanting to like target people and burn down their houses and like,
Well,
nothing screams love like.
we can. There's irony. They're forever ironic. Their last group is called the Anti-Racists of Loudon. Here are some things that the anti-racists did. The anti-racists said that there are too many Asians in Thomas Jefferson Academy, the best high school in the United States or whatever. They've said that there are too many Asians, there are too many successful Asians. They've said that we need more black people and we need to lower the admission standards to get more black and Hispanic students, which they did. They said that National Honor Society admittance was racist, so they withheld the notifications to students uh, to all non-black students. So Asians didn't get notified, Hispanics didn't get notified, and whites didn't get notified. Just the black students who made the National Honor Society got notified. Some of the schools in Fairfax, they said the whole honor society, just the idea that some kids are smarter than others and achieve more is racist. They didn't notify anyone. Black, white, yellow, pink, red, whatever. They said the whole thing is racist.
Oh my gosh.
But they're super racist, like saying, "Oh, we got too many Asians around here." Like, hey, anti-racist. You realize
Yeah.
that's racist, right?
Well,
Like,
it's the wrong definition of racism.
these people are
Because
wild.
their definition, the woke definition of racism is because you were born white, you are inherently an oppressor, and because you were born black, you are inherently oppressed, and there's nothing that you can do about it. I mean, I have seen TikTok videos of these college graduates saying that white people just stop fighting it, like you were born racist, just admit it. There's nothing that you can do about it, and it's just the way that they think. That is their definition of racism. And so it's society's job to lower standards for people that are inherently oppressed and won't ever be able to do anything about it. So we've got to lift them up, and we've got to hold down people that would otherwise oppress them if they didn't hold us down. So
You got it.
it,
You should apply. You should apply for the anti-racist. They'll take you
I
because
know
you're a white woman. There's a lot of white women in the group. It's very strange. Their anti-racist group is very strange. There's like an
it,
income requirement. Lots of them are all these women rights activists, but so many of them are rich white women in the way that they don't work, but their husband makes multiple six figures and they drink Chardonnay all day and go around and I can't say that. Man. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway.
well, yeah,
These are the anti-racist of
right.
Loudon.
We
Oh,
know
good
it's
job,
fine.
ladies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
Keep
talk
up the
about.
good work, love warriors.
Yeah. It's hard to be a good Christian sometimes. Let's talk about this guy. Sorry we're going a little bit late, but we started a little bit late. We're going a little bit late. It was worth it though, because we get to stream on Samantha's channel and
Yeah.
and I get Samantha's mom as a follower. So that was worth the whole ordeal and going through the tech troubles and all of that jazz.
You have no idea.
I overcame my nervousness about 12 minutes in. So if you guys didn't watch the CNN town hall with Trump, which really looked more like a debate between Caitlin Dum Dum Collins, who the best thing that she ever did was help get Don Lemon fired. If you didn't watch it, it's kind of worth a watch. I watched it yesterday and I watched it again today. But it's funny. It's very funny. But I wasn't even aware of this watching it live or watching it on replay, that they ended it early. So people are kind of making fun of it, saying that CNN mercy ruled it because Trump was just doing too well. So they ended the town hall 20 minutes early. Here are some highlights because, why not?
Yeah.
Please welcome the frontrunner for the Republican nomination, former President Donald Trump. But what do you say to voters who say it disqualifies you from being president?
Well, there aren't too many of them because my poll numbers just came out. They went up. Okay. Her cat was named Vagina.
What is the first thing you would do to help bring down the cost to make things more affordable?
Drill, baby, drill.
Why did it take you 3 hours to tell them to go home?
I don't believe it did. Oh, let me pull it out. I have to pull it out.
Oh, that was the moment. This guy's face.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was the. Do you ever watch something and you just know this is going to be a glorious meme, a GIF? They might make an emoji of that moment, and it'll be like a guy in a suit pulling out a stack of papers.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
That's gonna be meme gold right there. I mean, did you get the clip where he called her a nasty person?
Oh yeah, we gotta watch that one too. Here it is.
To what happened on that day?
He
You said
did
you
not
weren't.
say that.
He has testified that, Mr.
He did
President.
not say that.
But you said you weren't very involved that day. You did tell.
Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Where's the nasty?
That was the one where he was talking about January 6th, I think. Or maybe not, I don't know.
Oh,
I think it's that
no.
one.
We
So
gotta
I think it's
watch.
that one.
It's not this one. This is the
No,
CNN.
one just before that where she was standing up holding the paper. Like, because they were standing up at that point.
Yeah, they were. Oh, we gotta watch that one. Oh, what did I do with it? It might be in my sources thing. Let's see. Because I put sources, or I put tweets in my sources. I'm not gonna type that in. I almost typed in "nasty girl" into the search for Twitter. Oh man, that would have been that would have been
Trump
bad.
town hall where you'll get all of the it was, I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I thoroughly enjoyed all of the clips. And it was about as epic as I imagined that it would be. And this woman
Why did it take?
Oh, it was so good, so good. Oh yes, Sebastian Gorka tweeted it.
Investigators have, I think, is why you held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
You
the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person. I'll tell you.
Can you answer why you held on to the documents?
I was negotiating, and we were talking to NARA, that's Washington, to bring whatever they want. They can have whatever they want.
But that's the question that
I love that moment because the whole time, I don't know why they went from sitting to standing. I think that was kind of a preemptive.
Oh, I can't hear you. That was weird.
That was super weird. I don't know what just happened there, but it says that we're back. It popped like 800 resume live windows popped up, and I kept hitting it. And okay, anyway, it says we're back. I'm so glad that this happened. That because she was so combative the whole time, and she kept talking and opining, ditching the questions of the voters out there at a town hall, which is the point of a town hall, asking her own questions. And then she kept rebutting him. It's not a debate. And even if it was a debate, you're an anchor. You're supposed to be some kind of journalist. Like, you're just supposed to ask the questions. She should never, ever, ever again be brought on as a moderator because she doesn't know what a moderator is supposed to do.
Right. Well, yeah, and she was just so deeply unlikable. I mean, just standing there like, yeah, that's why I want you to answer the question. That's why I asked it. Like, that's something that, like a 13-year-old teenage girl would say. It's like, just ask the question, let him answer, and move on. But she just wanted to fight with him over every single thing, and then she wanted to cut him off when he started to answer and provide information that she didn't want him to provide. The whole thing. Well, and you said that we were watching kind of the montage of all the clips together when he was talking about the cat named Vagina.
Yeah.
Did you catch that clip?
Yeah.
Like the
So
whole thing.
stupid.
They were talking about Jean Carroll's cat, the woman that just accused him of sexually assaulting her. That woman is insane. She is completely bonkers. I mean,
did you hear his account when he was talking about, he's like, look, I've seen this woman like twice, took a picture with her and her husband. He's like, the whole narrative. So wait a minute. I come down out of my literal, like my ivory tower, my golden tower, and I come down and go into a shopping mall and go to have sex in a dressing room. He's like, I own multiple buildings around us. Like, what are you thinking? It just doesn't make any sense. Guys, I don't think that ever happened.
No, I don't think so either. And and I know that of course the left is going to be like, we're just excusing it because he's our guy, but it's like, again, just another story that doesn't add up. It makes absolutely no sense. And then when you're looking at this woman who just seems completely out of her mind, it's like, I think we're allowed to ask questions about it. And then, I don't know if you saw some of the CNN meltdowns, but somebody was yelling at him, or they were angry that apparently he laughed about the sexual assault, that he, chuckled about it. And it blows my mind because they put these purity tests up to us, things that they are never going to live up to themselves. The number of times that we have seen Biden laugh at things that he should not be laughing at. When they had a press conference after the Covenant School shooting, and he made a joke about being there to get ice cream. Like, I'm sorry, but
Yep.
you don't get to, we're not going to start playing this back and forth where he chuckled about something.
When they do that, this is what I do now here in Loudoun, because one of my viral moments over the last few years was a group of us went and we read these gender freaks books out loud that are in middle school. And we just read it to them. So when the morality police come out and all of a sudden they turn into these pearl clutching, little biddies, I just quote some of those books. Like, hey, this is your agenda. And I just start reading it to them. I've got them saved on my phone. I got them like saved as photos, and I'll just pull it up and be like, what? If you're going to open the door to that, if you showed this stuff at work, you will get fired for harassment. But when they play that game, they play that game all the time. Oh, you're supposed to be this and that. Boom. I just start reading those super nasty, dirty books, and everyone knows the books that we're talking about: Gender Queer, Monday's Not Coming, Lawn Boy. What I think one of them's called This Book is Gay. The list goes on and on. Just pick one and keep a paragraph or two on your phone. And when the left turns into the morality police, just throw it in their face. Like, you're not okay with this, but you're okay with that.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, the different set of rules. Um, did you also see the clip where she was asking him about Ukraine?
I watched the whole thing. What about when he said that he'd end the war in one day?
Well, when she kept pressing him and saying, who do you want to win this war? Do you want Ukraine to
Russia
win
or
this war?
Ukraine?
Yeah,
He
and
answered perfectly.
no, he really did. And it's like
He
we
said,
have got
I want the people to stop dying. No
yeah.
Russia, no Ukraine. I want the people to stop dying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, these people that claim to be so much about human rights and saving the children and saving lives and all, the stuff that we heard about COVID, like he literally just talked about saving the lives of thousands of people and not wanting people to die. And it didn't even phase her. Like she didn't even blink at that response. And it just goes to show like there's no substance there. There's no foundation there, that it's all just talk.
Lloyd says, I hate Mondays. Close some windows. You have no idea. Look at all these windows. I got windows over here and windows over there. Yeah, she could care less. She's got her talking points. She could care less about saving lives. The same line of reasoning that you just made when they got into the Roe v. Wade conversation. But conservatives, generally, we are harm reductionist. We want the policy that results in the less harm. They want to steal, kill, and destroy, which I've seen in another book, but that seems to be their agenda. Our agenda seems to be human flourishing, strong family bonds, relationships, a cohesive civilization, and, we're not chopping things off of minors and constructing new things, but we're crazy.
Right.
Now,
Well,
again,
no, and I was just going to point out, I mean, there were so many things that they talked about that really had nothing to do with the things that people are actually concerned about. But he did make the point of how he wanted other countries to start putting up money, to whether it be to help Ukraine, help to end this war. I think he talked about, getting Europe to pay more money. And she, of course, balked at that. But I mean, that's something that Trump did in his presidency, is he said, we are, as the US, it is not our responsibility to fund literally everything across the world. People are abusing us for our money, and past presidencies have just handed it out like, it's an unlimited supply. So I appreciate him doing that. And it's such a stark contrast to what Biden has done, because he essentially has given everything away to everybody, especially the people that hate us. I mean, he's like China. Hey, you want our oil reserves? You can have our oil reserves. Taliban, do you want our army base and like $80 billion in military equipment? Great. You can have that. Like he's like, Ukraine, you want some stuff to secure your borders? Great. Gonna do none of that here. Like it just blows my mind. I mean, Biden is literally conducting like this United States yard sale, and he's giving everything away to everybody that hates
that's
us.
good.
Get nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Trump said it
We
on
get
like
nothing.
day one of his presidency. The UN is a joke. NATO is a joke. All it is us sending our resources, which were created because of capitalism and because of, the hardworking, fighting American spirit, and just spending it on all the trash, like the European Union. Unions are generally stupid and a bad idea. When you're going to unionize your countries and live in this borderland like that, don't even get me started on the way that they do business over there. But the UN and NATO and the idea of UN troops, NATO troops, whatever, is we pay for everything. And I can't remember the numbers, but he said it was something like 12 or 17 billion for one. Meanwhile, it's 170 for us.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No. We're not playing that game.
Yeah.
And
well, and I mean, when he makes statements like, I could go in there and end this in 24 hours.
He would. He
I know, and
absolutely
that's
could.
just it. Like, we had 4 years of him, and I mean, did he do everything perfectly? No. I mean, I would have liked
This man walked into North Korea with no security, like King Leonidas.
Exactly.
Like, I wish a mother would do something to me so we can, Yeah, come on.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
was the
he has the
biggest.
track record. He has the goods to back it up to say
Yeah.
stuff like that. Whereas, Biden has been saying he's going to fix problems forever. He's been in office for 50 years and he's done absolutely nothing. And I don't understand how anybody can believe what he says, but I believe that Trump can walk in there and say, we end this now. Like, if anybody can do that, I mean, maybe 36 hours, 48 if we're being generous, but he could end
Yeah, we
this.
need to allot for the time zones. I mean, Biden was president for like 7 days before North Korea started test firing missiles again.
Yeah.
Not the same. So I hated the amount of time that they spent on election fraud, the 2020 election,
Yeah.
and January 6th. And I'm glad that this moment happened in the after town hall focus group that CNN did. Because, I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, there are two teams. It's pretty obvious which team we're on. But we have some sharp people on our side. Like, Caitlyn got crushed the whole entire town hall, which was kind of like a debate. She got crushed. And then CNN turns around and gets owned by random focus group members like this guy, who, again, he just answers perfectly.
Does it bother you that he keeps talking about 2020 and not 2024? I'll ask you first. This is Jonathan Leslie. He's 40, Republican, voted for Trump twice. How do you feel about those lies?
So I feel like part of it's also the media narrative, as you guys asked him the first question at the town hall about the 2020 election, rather than current stuff.
So don't you think he could say it's time for me to start talking about 2024, not lies that aren't true?
Couldn't the media ask him a question about 2024?
Well, there were questions, but you're right. That was the first thing, but that's something that was on our mind. And that's why I was asked first. Mike McGlaughlin, does it bother you that
It cracks me up that he literally smirks.
2020 and not 2024? I'll ask you first. This is Jonathan Leslie. He's 40, Republican.
He smirks a little bit like, no, this is a you problem, not a Trump problem.
Yeah.
I love this guy. We should get him on the pod.
I know, right? Let's have a conversation. But I know. Well, I mean, and to be fair, Hillary Clinton is still talking about 2016, so it's like, I do hope that Trump kind of lays off the 2020 thing, and I hope he can kind of let it go and move forward. Because it is slightly obnoxious at times, but honestly, I think the bigger issue is the fact that, they had this opportunity to have this conversation about things that really matter to people, and they still refuse to do it. I mean, just the state that our country is in, we're talking about the economy and immigration and inflation and energy and all these things that are going on that people care about. And it's like, am I going to be able to afford to put gas in my car? Not the rate that we're going, because Biden refuses to drill on our own land. What are things going to look like in the next couple of years? And it's like, these are the things that matter. And it's, you want to spend all of this time talking about January 6th, talking about 2020, talking about all of these things that just don't matter. And it just continues to show the callousness, and how disconnected they are from reality.
Total waste of airtime. You're absolutely right. They didn't talk about anything that matters. All of the and Biden keeps saying, I'm a kitchen table issues. I'm a dinner kitchen issues. He can't even say the freaking phrase right.
The thing.
Yeah, you know the thing. People care about the cost of energy. People care that the dollar, every day that goes by, the dollar is losing value, and not just, looking at my 401k, looking at my investments, looking at the money in my checking and savings account. My buying power is going down. Inflation's out of control. The cost of goods is going up, but the value of the dollar is plummeting down. And the freaking petrodollar is standing on the bridge about to jump off and just end it all. It's not good. It's not good.
No.
But let's talk about January 6th, and let's talk about the 2020 election, and let's talk about, she said that you grabbed her by the, no, let's not talk about any of that. None of that matters. She doesn't, Caitlyn, and it's not completely Caitlyn's fault, but it's mostly Caitlyn's fault. If you're going to be the face of this, then we're going to blame you for it. They can't have a conversation about policy because Trump's policies were freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And Biden's policies, he was just like, I'm going to do everything the opposite of Trump. And it's like, all right, well, if Trump is creating the greatest economy and you're going to do the opposite, then... And he was just
I see
like...
where this is going.
I think Nancy Pelosi is seducing him with ice cream. Because she's got the good stuff, is what I hear.
Yeah, it's like the $15 like pints of ice cream.
Must be nice, Nancy.
Right. Well, and I mean, I know being here, well, I mean, across the country, but just watching the border, I mean, I'm gonna, see what the updated reports are, but I don't know. I posted a video yesterday. There were people that were at the border ordering DoorDash, waiting for Title 42 to end. I'm not even kidding. This is a thing that was happening, and I'm like, who in their right mind is taking Joe Biden seriously, this administration seriously? There is nobody on planet Earth that is afraid of this man or that feels any need to hold back on any way that they felt, that they've wanted to attack the US. Like, this is a dream come true for our enemies.
Yep.
Yeah.
It ain't good, folks. It ain't good. So we've gone over time. Thanks so much for sticking with us. I didn't do any of the beginning plug stuff because I failed. So if you're still here,
technical difficulties.
yeah, that's true. Do all of the stuff. YouTube wants us to say smash the like buttons on all the channels, all the things. Make sure you're subscribed because they do unsubscribe you. Used to happen a ton on my old channel. Now I have like 5 subscribers, so they don't unsubscribe anyone. But I bet if you're subscribed to Outspoken Samantha's channel, here, let's hit the button. Boom. Go and subscribe. But I bet if you're subscribed, make sure and check that you are still subscribed because they will unsubscribe you. And of course, it is the year of the podcast. So whatever device that you are on, go ahead and open up the podcast app, search for The Joe Mobley Show, and subscribe, rate, review, do all of that good stuff. I don't think there's what is this? Sorry, guys. I mislabeled the button.
Oh my gosh.
That button's mislabeled. I know. This is one for the bugs. Yeah.
Better next week.
Yeah, we'll get it together for next week. And it's almost like sometimes you plan a show out like a good time in advance, but it's just like Biden's America is so clown world that anything could happen.
I know.
Anything.
I know. It's like just before we're going on here, Joe's adding like 25 different things that just happened in the last like 2 hours. And I'm like, what are we even talking about? So who knows what we're going to be talking about next week?
Hey, this is one. Hardy Lloyd's got one. Terrorist DoorDash. That might be a thing. And do smash the like button. Yep. So is Nancy still alive? I don't know. Can we talk about that on YouTube? Who knows? But yeah, that's all we got. I almost feel like not pressing the outro button because I accidentally pressed the intro button twice. Yeah. What does this one do?
Well, we appreciate you guys sticking with us. It's been fun. And always appreciate the comments and the interaction. I have an email address listed on all of my videos if there's ever anything that you guys want to see talked about more, because I do feel like there are so many things that get overlooked in the mainstream media even. So I'm always happy for suggestions to talk about things that people actually want to hear about. So feel free to send that.
I am such a terrible promoter.
You are.
Yes, do that. I have been forgetting this. I've been telling you guys to go over to Locals, and I've been promoting Locals as a freedom-minded Patreon. And I was having a conversation with someone in town who knows me, who subscribes to the show and stuff, and she listens to every episode, but she's like, oh, I can't subscribe to another, I can't pay for another subscription. My husband will kill me. And I was like, Locals is free. And that's when it hit me. Everyone thinks of Patreon as like only paid for exclusive content. Locals, almost all of my stuff on Locals is free. It's just a place where I post things that I don't post anywhere else. Content videos. There are a couple of podcast episodes that aren't even published on my Apple podcast. And then, of course, like YouTube videos, I usually release them early on Locals. And you can pay for extra stuff like Zoom Hangouts or, you know, if you're in the Northern Virginia area, we'll go out to the bar, you know, every couple of months or whatever. But anyway, yeah, so Locals is like Patreon, but not really, because you don't have to pay to get in. You actually just go, like, click it, and oh, you're in. So anyway, it's thejoemobleyshow.com/locals. And we're actually doing a membership drive, which is going swimmingly. So we're at 59% of our goal. So we're trying to get to 1,000 members by, here, let me go back to my view. We're trying to get to 1,000 members by July 1st, and we are at 591, which is great. So go over to thejoemobleyshow.com/locals and subscribe for free. And yeah, maybe one day I will get better at promoting. So thanks, guys.
Okay. Have a good night.